So India are 174 for 5 in what was a delayed second session of this fifth and final test at Edgbaston. Now, 3 wickets, 3 genuine batters out, but over 120 runs scored. And Rishabh Pant once again is going to be the talk of the town on ESPN Cricket for Matchday with Ashley Giles and Wasim Jaffer. This game is moving on. Wasim Jaffer is also moving on, even though he's in the same location as you may have seen him at lunchtime. He's got a nice, different, colorful shirt on. So let me go to him first up, Wasim. Indian fans would have been concerned after play resumed in that first hour or so. But with the way Pant has batted, has Jadeja has batted, where do you see this game? How does it stand right now?
I think it's a very crucial partnership. They would be hoping that this partnership goes even carries on to the next session and can be as big as possible, because after this they haven't got a lot of batting, even though Shardul can bat, but there's not a lot of batting to come after this. And this has been the pattern, even though when England played against New Zealand, England managed to get early wickets even against New Zealand. But then Daryl Mitchell and Tom Blundell, they were the thorn in the flesh for England in that series as well. And it looks like a similar pattern from England's perspective. They would be hoping to get this wicket early and can get into the Indian tail. So, but India would be hoping, you said 270. I think India will be hoping to get as close to that target and make a
Hmm.
match of it. So I think this partnership is very, very crucial.
What changed, Ashley, in the last hour? 5 for 98 in about 27 overs, and suddenly a partnership of 76 of 101. I say suddenly because it seriously changed the tempo of this game. What changed?
Well, probably a few things changed. I think the weather certainly changed. It looked like the sun came out for a while, and batting suddenly at a lot of grounds can look completely different when the clouds disappear. Um, I think the bowlers, got some time in their legs and started to get a bit tired. Then, Stokesy came on and bowled a couple of overs, which he hasn't bowled a lot recently, and he's certainly going to have a few cobwebs, be a bit rusty. Had to bring the spinner into the attack, and we know Pant loves that. But I think it's a really interesting partnership, because England would have been delighted with the start of that session, getting 3 early wickets. But when these two are at the crease, and particularly Pant doing, I suppose, Pant things, it's a dangerous time for England.
I like that you used the sentence "had to bring the spinner on." Listen to David Gower on commentary here in India saying, "Did he need to bring the spinner on? Seamers should have continued. Maybe Stokes could have come in earlier." It looked like actually that Leach came on at a time where Jadeja had just come to the crease. There could have been a little more chaos at that time with another wicket, but was that the right time to bring Leach? Should he have bowled as long as he did?
Well, Leach came on originally just to switch ends, I think, for the seamers for 1 over. Then he came back. And I think it's a positive move from Ben Stokes. He played with the field a bit. He tempted Pant and Jadeja. We know they don't need much of an invite. They're going to take it on. If the ball goes up, they're going to come down the pitch and try and take it on, which they did. But at that point, it's worth a gamble, because I think, as Wasim said, at 174 for 5, it's a good partnership. It's got them back into this innings, but 1 more wicket, 2 more wickets, and England are very much into the tail.
What a story Rishabh Pant is, Wasim, for someone who's had an underwhelming IPL, who now we debate after the South Africa series, does he fit into India's best T20I team on form? Here in the toughest challenges you think for a batter, Rishabh Pant is going at over 100 in a test match, a one-off test in England. How do you explain that?
I think he knows, how he wants to play in Test cricket. When the fielders are up, he knows when he can take the chances. T20 is a different ball game, but I think he sorted out his Test batting in my opinion. He attacks the spinners, he puts them under pressure, he hangs onto the back foot and looks for that cut shot. And as soon as they pitch it up, he goes after them. So I think he's got his Test batting sorted out. It just the T20. Even in one-day cricket, he's played some special knocks. But in Test cricket, I don't think he's got any problems. Once he bats, for a session or two, he's going to change the complexion of the game, and that's exactly what he's doing. And India will be hoping that he goes on for another hour or even more.
I mean, you've spent so much time with the modern day player, Ashley, and we've often seen form from one format translates into the other. At the same time, a lack of form may also translate from one format to the other. Pant is such an interesting case study for the type of player that he is. to have not quite found the success in white ball cricket, which you think was his game. And here we see him now, even in a one-off test, hitting the ground running, looking relatively at ease. Could you make sense of it?
Not really. But it's confidence again, isn't it? It's such a massive thing, and if you could bottle it, you'd be a billionaire. But this guy has the ability to take the momentum of a game away from an opposition, and I'm not saying he's done that right now, but if he bats for another hour and a half, then he'll have India well back in the game, because he's always going to score at a strike rate of 100 or thereabouts, and with someone like Jadeja with him as well, it's dangerous. And that momentum with someone again like Thacker coming in, you could quite easily see after the break, the seam's coming back on, get a couple of quick wickets, it's a different thing. But if they gain some momentum, it then frees someone like Thacker to come in as well and whack a few, as he did last year at the Oval.
What bowling plans sound to Pant though, Ashley? Did England bowl as well to him as they could have?
Well, I think we talked about the overheads. I think the ball also got a little bit soft. They changed it once. They weren't happy with it. I don't know whether this is a tactic, but we're seeing it a lot in this last series against New Zealand, where whichever the bowling side is going to the umpire with a ball and not happy with it, trying to get a change and trying to get the ball to do something. I don't think they bowled badly, and I think there was a period where when Iyer came in, they maybe chased it a little bit and they got away. But on this pitch, there's still enough in it for the seamers. They've just got to hold their nerve and hold their length and do those basics really well.
Iyer came in to join Pant and not ahead of him. Wasim, what did you make of that move, sending in Pant at the fall of Vihari's wicket ahead of Shreyas Iyer?
Not much. I think it's not a big fuss. I would say I would have probably sent Iyer probably in front of Pant, but Pant has been brilliant in Test cricket. He's played some magnificent series winning knocks. So yeah, I mean it doesn't make too much of a call. I mean, Pant coming in ahead and then Iyer coming in, it took a long time, but they see him as a proper batter. So it doesn't surprise me.
All right, so not much to choose then, but we were all waiting to see what kind of approach Shreyas Iyer takes. How successful would he be outside of India? He's had a great start to his Test career. Now, looked a very breezy, entertaining 11 ball 15, Wasim, and eventually the wicket has come to a short ball. Now, would you look at that and say Shreyas Iyer is unlucky, he's caught down the leg side, or do we now almost replug this conversation that we have ever so often of Shreyas Iyer versus the shorter delivery against the quicks?
No, I think they bowled a short. I mean, they didn't bowl too many short balls to the other batters, so they've got their plans obviously to bowl a few short balls. Tim Anderson bowling a couple of short balls to him. I think that was a tangle down the leg side, so it was a little unfortunate. I won't think too much of that, but I think for whatever period he was there, I think he looked pretty good. So yeah, it was an unfortunate dismissal. I don't think it was a proper short ball, so I won't think too much about it, to be honest.
Well, for a man who knows James Anderson well, Ashley Giles, would he call that a proper short ball? Because it's not how he gets a lot of his 650 odd wickets.
No, it's not a ball that Jimmy goes a lot to now. The bouncer at the ripe old age of 39, but it actually seemed to bounce a little bit more. And actually, a great catch from Billings down the leg side. Any catch down there one-handed is a great effort, and a guy who's only playing in his second Test match. I think Billings has done a good job so far behind the stumps.
Did that strike you as a plan or a message from the dugout? Because it looked like from the pitcher's dressing room, I should say, that it seemed like this great plan with Brendan McCullum, who spent enough time with Shreyas Iyer at KKR, has passed a note in, and Joe Root signalling to the dressing room. Now, how much of that makes sense, Ashley?
Yeah, I think there's an element of plan in there, because as we've just said, Jimmy doesn't bowl short very often at anyone, particularly if the ball's moving around. He wants to drag people forward and bring the slips and the keeper into play. So a definite plan there, but as Wasim said, it's still the dismissal in the end, the strangle down the leg side. That's the way Iyer will look at it, and he should. He's early on in his career. He did look quite. He played some nice shots while he was in, so he needs to take that forward rather than any worries about a short ball.
I mean, England would say they were planning for that, right? They had a leg slip in place. They know enough about Shreyas Iyer. Sam Billings has spent time with him at KKR too, so there's enough of that. But let's not be too harsh on Iyer after his first Test innings away from India. Let's analyse the wickets that fell before him. Wasim, the Virat Kohli wicket now. How much of that is bad luck? How much of that is a batter that's tentative, lacking in confidence? How much credit to the bowler? What did you make of it?
I think he looked really good till he was there. It's again was an unfortunate dismissal. On any other day, it would have taken the inside edge, would have gone for a one or maybe four to the boundary. But just one of those things that he drags it onto the stump. But I think while he was there, like always, for the last couple of seasons, we have seen that Virat Kohli looks good till he gets out, and it was again one of those days. It was an unfortunate dismissal. I think those out of the three, two were very unfortunate ones. It worked really well for England, but I think India would say that they were a little bit harsh done by for those two dismissals.
Do you share that view of the Kohli dismissal, Ashley?
Yeah, look, I think it's just a result of someone who's not played a lot of cricket recently, is a bit unsure, lacking a bit of confidence against the best seamer of all time. There's all those factors in there, but clearly there's indecision by him.
That one came of Potts, I think, Ash. So unless you're christening him as the best seamer of all time, yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was Potts. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
I'm seeing something down the line that might be brilliant enough.
Sorry, that's my fault. Correction. But I don't think you can call it anything but indecision there. There's, he's clearly not in the nick of his life, but. Again, it's still slightly unlucky, and it's. I know England will be overjoyed to see the back of Kohli, but it's never the way you really want to see one of the world's best players go.
Yeah, there's a lot to like though about Potts, Ashley. The wicket to Vihari too seems a bowler that might be a handful for a number of batters, different from what the rest of England seamers tend to offer. The wicket to Vihari as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Durham seemed to have this knack of producing these young quick bowlers, and he's another one off the conveyor belt, and he'll again be someone who really is blossoming under the captaincy of Ben Stokes, his teammate from Durham. He'll run in all day, hits the deck hard. He's not express, but quick enough, and as he's demonstrated, when he hits the seam, it goes both ways. So I think there's certainly a lot to like there. And yeah, he's going to, he keeps making people play around that sort of middle and off stump line. He's going to have success.
Vihari as a number 3 in more challenging conditions. Wasim is still something that a number of Indian fans would like to be convinced of. What did you make of that today? Does he seem like someone who's convincing, or should we not be rushing to judgment after just one innings?
I think, I think you got it right. Just one inning, but he looked, decent. I have seen personally very closely that he's got so many runs batting at that number. He got dropped though. He got dropped by Zach Crawley, but I think he needs big runs. We've seen him get 30s, 40s, but I think to cement his spot in this team in top 6, I think he needs a big score. This inning was an unfortunate one. He missed a straight one, but I think going forward, he needs a big score because a lot of good young players waiting in the wings, and just a promising 30s and 40s or even more, I think won't help him.
All right. Now, this is again taking us back to a number of tests we've seen off late where lots of low order runs tend to be decisive in the outcome of the game. 174 for 5, couple of quick wickets. It's England's game. Ashley, Wasim says if they get close to 270, they take that. They could make a fight out of it. What sort of assessment are you looking at now for India to stay in this game? You still say England ahead?
I think you'd have to say England ahead still. Conditions the way they are, you'd see them improving as the game goes on. I think there's going to remain something in the pitch, but look, India have to really get 270, 300, I think, to put pressure on. India have got a fantastic bowling lineup as well, but if they get bowled out quickly now after tea for a little over 200, it's going to make their job very hard.
It's a long, extended session, this, and 70 runs have come in quick time with Jadeja and Pant, so should make for a telling final session of play on day one. We'll pick up the conversation with Ashley Giles and Wasim Jaffer. Wasim, are you going to be driving this time, or are you still going to stand where you are till the end? Sun might set by the time.
You'll find me again here. I'll be driving a lot later, so yeah.
All right. Awesome.
So,
On
yeah,
the road is Wasim
unfortunately.
Jaffer, and Ashley Giles will be with us for company too. Join us on ESPN Weekend for Match Day after what's a decisive session to keep India in this test match. They, of course, would consider themselves behind England after 2 sessions of play. Join us at Stumps.